Yep.
Call the session, the Culver Town Council meeting for Thursday, February 26th, 2026. I'd like to remind people that this meeting is being recorded and your participation is your consent to be rebroadcast on the town. Roll call, please.
William Cleavenger,
Present.
Joe Day,
Present.
Ginny Munroe, Neer, Ricciardi.
Present. Please join me in the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of minutes of the February 12th, 2026 regular meeting. Councilors, have you had an opportunity to review the minutes? Are there any additional questions? Neer moves to approve. Is there a second?
Yes.
Second by Ms. Munroe. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Public concern, utility, ordinance, and violation appeals. Anyone in the room? Anyone online? Public dialogue and focus presentation for OneMarshall County. Who wishes to?
Okay, so sorry to disappoint, but I am here to present. Okay. Ready?
Are you speaking on behalf of the?
On behalf of OneMarshall County.
Okay, and you are, ma'am?
Chelsea Smith.
Okay, thank you.
We live in Plymouth, Town on our farm. Professionally, I am the regional manager for commercial and business banking at First North Bank. I've been there 18 years. Up until January of 2023, I served for 12 years as a North Township trustee, so I know kind of what you guys are going through with all the public meetings and hearings that you have. I applaud you because it's a tireless and sometimes thankless job to serve the public, so thank you for that. As a banker, it's almost inevitable that I end up serving as a treasurer on some sort of board that I'm on. And so I am on the County Economic Development Board as treasurer, as well as OneMarshall County as treasurer. And through CDC, that's how I kind of got involved in the early meetings with Ginny and the Crossroads team and MCDC, trying to figure out what the next steps were going to be for Crossroads. And Kevin and Marty are on the board with me. You'll see a list of who's on the board here momentarily, but I don't know which one of you is not as most familiar with OneMarshall County, but I'll go over who we are and what we do, as well as just give an update as to what we're doing and what we have going on. Here's the roadmap for today. I'll walk through who OneMarshall County is, what we do, where we're heading strategically, and then what our implementation plan looks like for 2026. And then we'll walk through budget highlights and current activities. OneMarshall County exists to bring people together and organizations together to drive economic prosperity and improve quality of life. We evolved out of Crossroads, Marshall County initiative, and now we operate with a broader, more structured countywide approach. And what really makes us effective is the diversity of voices. We have local government, nonprofits, business leaders, and residents represented. This is coordination. What we do is we don't replace local leadership. We align it. We support communities with resources and information. Funding, the successes, and bring partners to the same table. committee structure ensures progress is moving forward in all of those areas that matter. So we have our 5 committees: housing and infrastructure, business, growth and innovation, and education. So there you have our board of directors. Very united, President Sean Peterson, Redevelopment. A range of representation on our board, and this broad representation is intentional. It gives us a broad review of industry. We all of the towns are represented, as well as finance and nonprofits on the board. So that's all intentional, which helps guys our priorities and keep the work. So our strategic plan gives us a 5-year roadmap across 4 strategy areas, and each of those include very clear objectives and initial focus projects. So we're going to inform and support our partners. With that implementation, we are not replacing the local leadership, the boots on the ground that are still doing that work, just helping coordinate and make sure we're one voice together. So these next slides highlight each of the major strategies. With each area includes targeted objectives and early projects that partners across the county have brought to light, and we're helping move forward. So the real value here is in the alignment of these strategies and making sure one is basically rolling in the same direction. Multiple agencies trying to do the same thing, except for we're consolidating together and making sure that we accomplish these goals. So in housing and infrastructure, coordinated development, shared planning, and modern infrastructure needed for growth. I'll go into some. Who's quality place, quality life. This covers things like amenities, services, and experiences that Mercer County needs to be a great place to live and work. Here in a minute as well. And then business growth and workforce. So this is a lot to do with the CTE program, supporting entrepreneurship, small business development, and making sure workforce is ready to go with these employers that want to come to our area. And then the last strategy is about strengthening the collaboration, communication, and capacity across all of these organizations. So we're helping with making sure everybody's aligned. We're increasing those initiatives, support the draw of the residents, and also just ensuring people know about any legislation that might impact us or of our goals. So the 2026 budget review. Our budget is built to support operations that help all of our partners be effective. So a few of the big investments in 2026, the biggest thing is we're adding, we're going to have our first staff member, or first paid staff member, and that's going to be a communications and community coordinator, a lot of C's in there. And they are going to help our partner organizations, those that are underneath those 5 pillars. We're continuing to contract with Enfocus to help with our project support and progress tracking. And then we're setting aside funds to help accelerate and these different initiatives across the community. So what's next? And current activities. So these are what we're looking at right now. Transforming things. So under the quality of place and quality of life, we have funding of requests for the IUDC Ready 2.0 for funds for the arts. And then we have the Quality of Life Committee that is having to do with the Lilly Gift 9 and the rural health grants that Eric Sapple of the hospital is trying to get a committee together to work through that. And then support the cross municipal housing and infrastructure initiatives. With Sean Peterson, looking into utility assessments, what areas have capacity for growth, and increase that capacity. And then a small business development center program that we're running right now, with focusing on. Excuse me. But with that, I will open it up for questions. And it's probably perfect timing. My throat's getting dry.
Question?
I don't really. I'm just glad that we were the original planning team. Grateful that they took the OneMarshall family and escalated to the next level of this program. And I think seeing the 5 pillars that we're working on, it's nice to know that a lot of the work that took place with the scholar is amping up, look for other funding sources as well. I love the small business support program because, we never got there with regional stellar, and it's definitely something Culver could benefit from, as to all the other smaller communities, right? So rural in that aspect. And just knowing that there's a regional planning team still going after funding like Lily, and supporting organizations like Linda's MCCF and some of the organizations that have shortages in staffing and also need input on this initiatives. Great. Glad to see there's just strength in planning team. Because we're local leadership is going through these transitions with new legislation, and how are the dollars going to come in, and how do we best get our return on investment? And I'll always believe that this is one of the ways to do that. So just want to reiterate my support for the organization.
We greatly appreciate the partnership that Culver has put forth already for us. And so we just wanted to make sure that you got an update from us and to see what we're doing, what we're working on, to have face and a name to who to contact on things as well. So I'm the one that actually monitors the email that we have for the inbox. So if anybody has questions or anything, we'd love to comment. If you think about it later, we'd love to hear the feedback.
I might add just a little color if I could.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The one area to emphasize is the way that this organization helps us line up with the region, the leadership in Elkhart County and St. Joseph County is it's important that we've got an organization that helps us communicate on that basis, because the philanthropy and the state funding is more and more becoming a regional idea. So, for example, the Lilly funding in the current activities here about funding for the arts, that application just opened last week and it's going to close out in April. And it's $65 million Lilly is giving to the state to support arts, and it's being given on a regional basis. And our region is that 3-county basis. So this organization is helping us get that application coordinated across these 3 counties so that we can get our share of that $65 million in those art projects here, which kind of underscores how the idea that this is an organization that isn't replacing, like Chelsea said, anything that any of us are doing in our day-to-day jobs, but rather making things possible that wouldn't happen otherwise.
A coordinated effort, because if we aren't working together, like if all the towns submit their own little projects, right, you're not going to get as much credit than if you have something that's submitted together that shows that more regional efforts.
Yeah. All the grants are moving that direction. Mm-hmm. I think it's also really exciting that you're going to have a paid position. I was hoping we'd see that happen within a year or two after regional stellar. So I'm excited about that. And not to take anything away from Enfocus, because that partnership has been critical to the county, and they tie us into that regional effort as well. And they do so at such a low cost that they helped bridge that gap between non-paid people and working your way toward paid. And they've been crucial for that.
So I'm glad to see there's still a strong partnership.
I would add, not as a Marshall County board member, but as a town manager, I've been able to have conversations with Bourbon, with Bremen, with Argus. And one of the things that I find is that not only does it provide a conduit to regional money that we could compete with Elkhart and St. Joe County individually. It allows us to collaborate into a larger regional entity that can compete for these resources. But more importantly, the strategies that you see on the board are talking points, and they bond us together. But on a tactical level, it gives us the flexibility to come back in our communities and do what we need to do. I love the conversations that I have about downtown development. So I come to realize that we share some challenges, and then there's some challenges that are unique to our town, but we still have that flexibility to unite under that strategy and have those conversations. So it's really opened my mind up to different paradigms to think about some of the things that we can and can't do. So from a communicative standpoint alone, I find benefit, to have that collaboration, to work with people that are both from public and private sector, right? It's a great resource in terms of connections. So it's been valuable.
So I remember Bourbon calling me and going, do you have a facade program? Can we have a copy of it? Yeah. Had we not formed that team, there's such a knowledge share now among the communities, which I think is a huge benefit of OneMarshall County. And especially because they tap into the nonprofit world, the business world, the municipal world. It's a pretty cool thing when you can solve some of your problems because you're talking to other people that are in your region and,
Yeah.
So are there, I know last year about this time, Gary made an ask. Is there a financial ask or is it a renewable? Okay.
No, we're here to update, not it. Yes,
Okay.
we're not here with our hands out tonight, just bring you up to date. But that will probably happen. That will probably
I
happen.
mean, I'm a very open book and honest person eventually. Yes, but we want to prove that we're making strides to you. And we want to prove that we're making an impact before we ask for dollars further. Right?
Anything more for Chelsea? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Enjoyed your presentation.
Thank you.
Next is adventure sailing.
My name is Bill Becker. I am the tertiary contact at this point. Ed and Becky are still in Florida doing their thing with their businesses down there. And Jim had obligations, so I was called in as a backup. Half of our participants have been through the Culver community. The other half have been through the surrounding community, or throughout the country, the lake, what it brings to the community. So there are grandparents that got the houses that offer, actually bringing students to us. The community has been the biggest participant, Culver being 9 of the students of the 15 locally, and then the other counties are Lakeville, Knox, Liberty, Osceola, and Plymouth. They rounded out the other half of the area that locally. Then after that, you've got Naperville, Manchester, Texas, Portland, Texas, several Culvers from the outside area. So the majority of what we're doing, trying to get the kids and introduce the lake life to those who don't have the opportunity through the community. We're doing it through adventure sailing to enjoy the lake, learn how to be stewards of the lake, and offer sailing as an alternative to something else that's not going on out there. We've been doing this for about 15 years now.
Yeah.
Something like that. We've been slowly moving forward with.
Been around for a few of our times.
Yeah. So we're still plugging away at it. The hard part of what we face is the instant gratification of being able to do something. sailing is not an easy sport to just pick up and take off on, so it's one of those things that we have to have renewed kids coming back to keep learning. We constantly try to be good stewards with the park, trying to stay out of their way, be respectful of what they're doing, being able to offer something to the community that is not normally accessible to most people. So it's an introduction to what the lake has to offer. Got this great asset out in front of us. Not everybody gets a chance to participate. With the adventure sailing, we own boats. We don't charge much for the classes. It's just an opportunity that people get to use. Been working with the town or with the park every year, trying to need and been a need for some ADA access. We've been planning to support on that too. So add in where we can. Having a family member who is of needs, it's kind of important to have that kind of aspect out there so that everybody can enjoy the lake. Lake is the lake can be difficult if you are challenged, and if we can take down some of those hurdles, it makes it more enjoyable for everybody. And I know that the ADA water skiing program has been a constant success. We want to continue to help support that, and we just want to be a part of the community to help out with that. So, I guess.
Yeah. I was just curious, because I know you guys offer assistance as well for funding. How much is it? How much is the cost to take the course if there's a?
I think it was, at one time it was $25, and I think it might be up to $50. But so there are scholarships out there that can be given for those who can't match,
I gotcha.
get to that level. It's always been a challenge to kind of keep it low, because at a certain point in time, we do pay staff members to help teach the classes, run the camps. We do operate pretty much on a mirrored schedule to the academy for the summer. We'll work on the Saturdays if the academy is in session. One of the challenges we have found since the beginning, when we started back around 11 to what we're dealing with now, is the season keeps getting shrunk. Schools get out later and they go in earlier. And growing up here as a kid, we came in Memorial Day and left Labor Day, and there was a lot of stuff to do in between. Now I have to do it in 6 weeks, 7 weeks. And again, it goes back to that competition. Everybody who joins or comes to the lake doesn't always have the time to spend 2 hours learning something, then going out and practicing later on. There's a lot of repeat, a lot of reteach. But we do the best we can with the time we've got. We do get repeats that we can move forward with the classes and develop their skills from there.
So it's about a 6-7 week program on Saturday.
On the Saturday mornings, if you're not familiar with where we came from, we are all members of the Mexican Yacht Club. We have taken the junior program away from the club itself, turn it into the 501c3 as it is right now to broaden our horizons. That's where we came into wanting to work with the park, because our yacht club is what we call a paper yacht club. There's no facility. And for those of us who want to perpetuate sailing and introduce other people to our sport that we've become passionate with, we had to do something to get a facility like place. The park is being able, and the town is being able to afford that with us to do this. And it's not to grow the yacht club. It's not to become a yacht club thing. It is to expand the horizons of the sailing to everybody. I mean, it doesn't have to be the lake life only. We want to expand it into the physical yacht club. It's very difficult to bring that to, and the town has been very gracious to allow us to partner with you to do that. So we played this weekend. We played with the idea of adding adult sailing. And we do have some boats that are capable of holding adults now. I don't know if you've all seen them. Some of the boats out there, they're kind of tiny. I can sail them, it's not easy. But the bigger boats are much easier to sail, and any one of these adults here could get in and sail them. So we're working to increase the capacity at that point. It's just a long, slow process. We'll have more as everybody gets back together to be able to create a schedule as to what's going on. What fees will be generated and what is necessary. And what the camps will be, what interests in the camps. So there's that future out there that we're still working on. Just always. You guys who are in sports understand that too.
Oh, yeah.
It's how do you get it on the calendar? How do you get them to do from one to the next? And keep everything full.
We've had a longstanding contractual memorandum of understanding, kind of moving to contracts. I've drafted one. Appreciate you coming in tonight. Purpose is I'd like to move forward and extend a contract once again to venture sailing for the use of the park. Obviously, there's some flesh to put on the skeleton in terms of dating in the classes, but just seeking council's approval to extend that contract and to work it out. And I'll report back as we move along, but if I can have that permission.
Mr. Neer moves to
Authorize
Develop a
Kevin
con-
to develop a contract.
Yeah.
Change it from an MOU to a contract.
There you go.
I got you.
contract. Okay, thank you very much.
And-
Mr. Ricciardi seconds. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign.
And by that, I mean, I'm going to take the MOU and I'm going to send it to our attorney, and it'll be a quick document, but under his advice. There you go. We did, but I want to make sure I got everything, Kevin. We did.
Appreciate you taking time out of your day.
Sorry.
Yeah. No.
Scatterbrain this, but it's not. Got a call late. Okay. I'll figure it out. It'll be
You
back
did
in the
fine.
meantime.
All right. Sounds great. I appreciate it.
very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Under old business, ordinance 2026-003. Personnel policy manual adoption.
I was the only one who wanted something changed.
Yeah.
I still want to change page 18 with the vacation policy. I don't know if you all have given it thought. It didn't look like there's a lot of cost associated because we'd be adding a week of vacation to Chad and Bob. Chad's week would have to be covered probably by a part-timer, and from what I could tell, that's the most significant cost. Which I thought was negligible. And I know we did not budget that for this year. So I want to form a motion, but it would have two options. One could be to implement it in 2026 and or 2027. But the gist of my motion would be to change vacation on the chart on page 18 that allows an employee 3 weeks of vacation currently after 9 years. My suggestion is to change it to 5. Then the 4th week kicks in on year 19, and I says change that to 10 years. Then anyone who's been with us 20 years or longer would receive an extra week of vacation.
I may be clear. After 5 years, so starting on the 6th year, after 10 years, starting on the 11th year, or would you say after 9, starting on the 10th? So completion of 10 or at the beginning of 10?
This is where it gets
Yeah.
A little
in
bit,
the
but
weeds.
it-
And I just need, this is what I need to know after 5.
so
Okay.
starting with 6,
After 5.
after 5, that, and there's,
After 10.
Yep.
Okay, that's fine.
thank you. I just need that clarity, and most
No, and
policies are
thank
that
you for
way.
asking,
Yep,
because
you're welcome.
I was gonna ask that.
You track anniversary dates per employee, or you start January?
It starts January.
Okay, well,
Yeah, no.
that gets here
No,
too.
I think the new system could do it, but
Yeah.
That's, I had other minor changes that can wait for another day and another time and another work session. But that to me was the, I know we did a lot with employee salaries for retention sake. To me, this is another important retention thing that we can do for, really strong employees. And, it's weighed on me for a long time, so I thought I'll just make the motion to implement those changes and see if someone will second me and force it to a vote.
Councilors, any discussion, any comments before we?
My only comment and what concern is that some of the departments, EMS, police, they're going to have to replace that person because they're 24/7. And they can be able to find part-time people to take that extra week of vacation under their belt to allow the guy to go.
Right now, we don't have any EMS who qualify for the 5th year yet. I think some of them are on year 3. I don't think we have any full-timers that are nearly year 5. But
Mike would be the only one that would qualify for an extra week. And if I read Karen prepared this and projected it in terms of the budget thoughtfully. And I think Mike was the only one that would be immediately impacted from EMS. And then Chad would be from the police, as you've already pointed out. Bob would be from utilities. Jerry, starting in 2027 would be impacted because Jerry would have they're starting his 5th year after it. So it may be 2028. But Karen put together that list of people that were impacted and looked at it, and I'll let her speak towards it because
I think it's a legit concern, Sally, because police is especially tricky. And we've had to pay out some vacation time for police, which I'm not opposed to. I do think we have to think about that long term though, like we want to encourage people to take vacation.
Right.
And a payout becomes more like a bonus in some ways, and it doesn't give people rest or whatever.
Yeah, sometimes you need to get away and clear your head.
Yeah, but I think it's one more week of figuring that out for the police department. Eventually, it'll be 1 or 2 weeks for the EMS to figure it out. I feel like currently we have a strong enough part-time staff to handle it okay.
Well, I know that could become a problem. I know that in the past, when it was partially paid and partially volunteer, we had a major problem trying to cover vacation days, especially when Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's were double days, which we have to find more people to cover those shifts.
It's a pretty comprehensive motion, so I'm going to say that you move to amend the salaries, and where's second read?
Well, it's second reading, it's the personal policy manual.
Our first policy manual. Okay. Ms. Monroe moves.
Oh,
Oh,
may I add? I'm sorry if I'm jumping in, but I mean, you've made the motion, but is the motion for this year or to start it in 27?
I was leaving that open to the council, but I would go ahead and say 2026. Because I really don't think the cost is gonna hit us, even though we didn't budget for it.
Anyone have any comments on 26? If not, no second.
I'm almost a second. I got a couple things I'm still thinking about, but anybody else close to a second?
Sure, seconds.
For 26?
26 is on the floor currently.
Is that a second motion? That's on the floor.
It's been seconded to second motion that the personnel policy manual adoption be amended on page 18 to include 3 weeks after 5 years, 4 weeks after 10 years, and an extra week as loyalty week after 20 years of employment to be enacted immediately 2026. That is on the floor. It's been seconded. Sorry,
Who
but
seconded it?
pardon?
Who seconded?
As a chair.
The chair did.
Oh,
Excuse me.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Sorry,
No,
no,
you're
it's
okay.
okay.
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Some way it doesn't matter.
Pardon?
Did you write it all out?
I've got it.
Thank you.
I've got it out. I will, council, will report this to our, human resources firm. They'll make the changes and I'll have the copy back. But we're only on second read.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's where
Yep, sorry.
I'm,
So-
I'm,
Make a motion to pass the amendment that we previously voted on.
Got it?
Got it now?
Right.
Okay,
So pass it on set. She made a motion to pass on
yeah.
second read. Okay, with you.
And Sally seconded.
all right. New business.
oh,
Now,
So
we gotta vote on
we
it.
still gotta call the vote.
Got to call a vote on this, the pass on second
Let's
read.
move to pass on second read. with
I got the amendment. I need the second pass.
Second.
or two.
Okay. And who's gonna make?
I'll recommend it. I'll recommend it.
I did,
Ginny
Sally
Munroe.
seconded.
Sally second.
I'll recommend it.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Do you want to wait for third read?
No, I'd prefer to go ahead and let's suspend the rules. If it's council's pleasure, there's no reason to wait unless council can find one. That way I can get this little boat and get it to the human resource and we'll have a package to put on play. If that's all right with council.
Ms. Monroe moves to suspend the rules and pass on third read.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Neer. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign.
Thank you for considering my amendment.
It's done.
You know, celebration over there, guys.
There is a celebration.
There's two reasons to celebrate. Number one, thank you, council. It's been a labor of love to get this done for Karen and I, and we appreciate the input. And I think we've just done something really good for our employees. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Next on the, under new business is 2026-004, amend the salary ordinance.
I believe I put a copy of the amended ordinance in front of you, but this was the request that Mike made last week, our last council meeting, to add a part-time position or part-time EMT and a part-time medic. Their pay would be a little bit higher. They would commit to providing at least 24 hours, no more than 60 hours per pay period to the EMS. And then there would be a PRN position, and that would be more of an as-needed basis to fill in for those vacation times, the PTO, when they don't have a complete schedule. And those people commit to 24 hours of work over, I think it was a 3-month time, 2-month time. There's a period of time that they would commit to work, and then that would just keep them on the roster. And I believe that Mike is confident that this is going to take care of some of the staffing, and they've been in a really good place. The payroll that just went through this week had 45 hours of overtime, which was 8 hours per, or no,
8 hours is,
A
so we
little bit,
expect,
yeah.
sorry.
Go ahead.
We expect 40 hours per pay period from, with their shift at 84. So we're looking at 5 additional hours. They're a great place, and they're able to get a lot done back there as well. Yeah,
It's the lowest I've seen.
and they're able to maintain that. And the nice thing is, just to report fully to the council, the 2 individuals who had the overtime were Mike and Lisa, who are both performing administrative duties as well. So we expect that. And so the unfortunate part is they're a little higher on pay, but they're getting it done, and they're doing well with it. So appreciate it. and the quality of the individuals that we have back there are high. I've been able to go back and visit. It's been a good experience. So
I feel like getting full vacation day.
Okay.
I didn't even think about it when I was trying to make the case.
But you just made the case.
yes.
Thank you. I'll make a motion to pass the annual salary or amended salary ordinance on first pass.
Mr. Monroe moves to amend the salary ordinance. Any discussion before we get a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Day. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign.
You want to suspend rules on this one, Karen?
Yes, please. I think Mike is ready to move forward.
Yep.
Make a motion to suspend the rules on second and third pass and pass the amended salary ordinance.
Mr. Monroe moves to amend the rules and pass on second, third read. Second by Mr. Neer. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Board and commission reports.
Let's do this all at once. Or you got redevelopment, but I'll hit the board and zoning appeals and plan if you don't mind. Plan did not have any cases this month. We did meet to discuss ADUs. Looking at state legislation and looking at some of the opportunities we might have within our town for housing density. Two areas of focus, obviously accessory dwelling structures and what that looks like, its relationship to the primary structure, especially in areas where we have maybe two lots on a parcel. There is an appetite to visit this for residential one, putting an ordinance in place, coordinating that right now with Plan Commission. We have a drafted ordinance, got some input from some of our visitors in the audience. I think we have something good that's reasonable that will allow for ADUs, but it also allows for monitoring of the ADU so it doesn't become a secondary structure detached from the primary eventually for sale. That's what we're trying to avoid. That's on the mind of Plan Commission. It was an excellent meeting and enjoyed it. BZA met. We have a election of new officers. Barry McManaway was elected president. Vice president was Dan Osborne, and then our secretary remained John Christ. For the BZA, exact officers we had going out and coming back in. We had one case. We looked at a variance request down on 215 East Hawkins. It was granted. It was reasonable and thoughtful, quick meeting. Appreciate the on safe tonight. Thank you guys. Other than that, I don't have specific statistics. We're going to have at least one case plan already. I pulled off the portal prepping and one case BZA. I pulled off the prep. Got just a couple more days. We'll close it for the month of March. So at least we'll have a single case for those meetings, and we'll resume the conversation about ADUs within plan. That's where we're at. And nothing more. I can hit tree commission really quickly and turn it over to Marty. Tree commission is locked and loaded. They've been coordinating. Stephanie reached back out. We have the sites for the trees, primarily in Cavalier Park and the school. Dennis is a warrior prince out there with his flags and measurements. I've never seen anybody more committed. He's just like a little tree gnome. But he's out there looking around, and John and Dennis have to be commended. They've really, if this project is successful and off the ground, it is due to the diligence of the tree commission and Stephanie. They really took something that was becoming a difficult situation, made it much better. Looking forward to it. They're going to coordinate with Karen, get some kids out there, plant some trees, get some shade out there at Cavalier Park. Probably be knocking on the door of redevelopment. Maybe looking at that well project sooner than later. But I'm excited to be able to get some development out that way. And those trees are going to be a nice addition along School Street there. So looking forward to it. And that's it for me.
Marty for development.
Marty Osterbaum for the Redevelopment Commission. A couple of things to touch on. There's a lot of work going on with respect to the Main Street renovation, and I know Kevin probably has some comments on that for his town manager report. So I'll leave that to him. But there's some other things in our spending plan, you'll recall, that involve the parks and taking a look at what can be done now, to help us improve the park system. So we're having some initial conversations around that, as well as how we might do some project management relative to Main Street renovation and those park projects. So we're teaming that up for the commission's review. Now, we weren't able to meet this month because we were unable to generate a quorum. The fates just kind of worked against us. We had scheduled a presentation from the author of the feasibility study for the hotel, who was going to walk us through what the economic benefits were from this project for the community. That is now going to happen at the beginning of our next redevelopment meeting, which is March
19.
19th. So I would ask you to see if you can make the time to participate in that. The incentive, because the question before the commission is what incentive, if any, to provide to this project. And so toward that end, we want to understand what the benefits are in the community, the economic benefits. Typically, the incentives are given in the form of a property tax or tax increment financing. It is in a TIF district as it's currently proposed, so we could find a way to work an arrangement there. And it's substantial. The tax revenues from the project, just property tax revenues from that project, are estimated at $800,000 over the first 7 years of the project. So, so the decision is consequential. The thinking that I have, you want to minimize that incentive, but more importantly, you want to maximize the value. What do the taxpayers get, for that investment? And this is a real opportune time to try to do that calculus and hear what the benefits are if we decide to make that investment. So that's all I've got.
Town manager report.
Hey, let's do some order of business here before I get too far. We do have a renewal to consider with 120 Water. Bob has reached out to me. This firm has been handling with the lead, the monitoring and the process of recording, helping us with state. Bob has found it valuable. So have I. It's, they do event management, workflow, communication. They've got, when we start moving towards the removal, it's going to be a valuable thing. They did our surveys and got out to the public and gathered that data for us. I don't question too often. Bob doesn't come in too often with one of these, but he said this is kind of not an ask, but a need. So it's sitting at, he said, I asked, there's a 2-year contract, but if I understood him correctly, he's asking for the annual subtotal, which is $13,200 to renew this contract and agreement from the council to proceed with that service that is being provided by 120 Water for our lead pipe and monitoring and guidance on compliancy. Not only that, but he also coordinates with the state and when it comes time for resource, they've been a good partner with municipalities, not just us, but across the state. So it's a scary thing to go alone, right, with this lead stuff. And go ahead.
The letters that were sent out
Yeah.
regarding the lead service line, that all came from 120 Water. Otherwise, we would be trying to scramble
Yeah.
in addition to everything else and keep track of all
One of the
that
keys,
stuff.
they were able to sort out the properties that were built
Yeah.
post 87 or 85. I can't remember, but anyway, they were able to sort out the data and gather it for us. So, yeah. All right.
Your costs.
13,200.
Mr. Munroe moves to approve the contract. Any discussion? A second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Ricciardi. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign.
Second request from Bob tonight. It's for a 2-inch water meter. This is a meter that's going to be installed. They're doing the work out at the Meadow View Apartments with new owner. and they are much needed work in this case. The amount for the quote is $3,181. That is with Core and Main. What it includes is one 2-inch Omni C2 1 gallon. Ready for this? 8-wheel monitor or meter, excuse me. It comes with the blast swing, all the fittings and all the good stuff, but it's essentially going to be used to install anything over an inch is usually approved, Bob said. So he wanted to put it in front of you since it's over the $2,500 amount. So for $3,181 with Core and Main for a 2-inch meter out at the Meadow View. I think they're still calling them apartments.
Mr. Maroon moves to approve the expenditure of $3,181 for a meter. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Neer. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Please, same sign.
You would do me the favor because I forget. Would you please pass that to Council President for signature? As I update, a couple things. Met with Bobby Cooper, the guy, officers down at the fire department today. Spent about an hour with them talking over some of the decisions they're making with the fire engine, some things. Also talking about maybe the grant opportunity with the county. It was a productive conversation. They would like me to extend the invitation to the council and remind you that there is a invitation for a work session. They would like to see you guys on March 11th, if that works your schedule, at the firehouse. They want to walk you through, take you through some of the equipment, some of the decisions they're making, introduce you to the officers, all the good stuff. I think it's a great opportunity if you're available.
When's that, Kevin?
3:11. They did not give me a time yet, Dana. They're flexible on that. Probably in the evening would work best for them. Thank you. And that's something that I'll follow up on email with you. I'd like to put it in front of you tonight, and then I'll touch base with you early next week so I can coordinate that and see if we can't get a date. It's gonna be a good time. They got a lot of neat stuff down there. So Winterfest was great. Thought that it was a good opportunity. I really had a good talk with Sellers. All he does down there at the park, and then want to thank Crystal for the work down there. It was I think it was successful. Had a good time. Saw a lot of people go through. Right as of now, we have 3 responses, and I'm anticipating 2 more tomorrow for the wastewater engineering design RFQ. Looking forward to it right now. The 3 responses that have come in are strong. I expect the other 2 to be equally as strong. I think we got a challenge ahead of us, and that's a good thing. I sent an email out detailing hopefully a course of action moving forward. I would like to extend, with council's permission, interviews to all the respondents. I think there is something valuable in discussing it and having an open session of questions. I think sometimes there's things that may not be apparent or that you have that are coming on a paper that you'd like clarification. And I think all 5 candidates have earned the right to be interviewed. Now that's a scheduling thing, and we'll see what we can get done there. I think it should be a joint work session with CRC during the interviews. Upon that, I would like that process after the interviews to be recommended to pass forward whatever RFQs you decide to be deemed to pass forward to scoring. I've sent out a possible list of that scoring committee comprised of both CRC members, Bob and Ben from wastewater, and Bob being the utility supervisor, myself and Karen for the financial stuff, and Sally, I put you on the list as well. And Bill, you are on the list. I'd like to try to move forward that way, but it's certainly flexible and it's at the council's pleasure, right? And we have time to decide that, but it's coming up. Tomorrow's the deadline for the RFQs, so we'll see. Really excited though. There's some great ideas, and everybody I've talked to, I've learned a lot in this process. I appreciate it. Marty alluded to the hotel. There's a great opportunity. We have a possible investor coming to town. And if we can get that traction, I think that's a big win. And there seems to be interest. Follow up on that. And I think it's going to be a great use, and that could be a catalyst for that Jefferson Street. I'd like to see it. I'm looking forward to that meeting. We have one coming up. Marty, refresh my memory. It's next week. That's March 5th. Thank you, sir. You may have mentioned that already. It's just one of those things that, okay, float around in my head, but that conversation should be productive. Along those lines, I've touched base with Kurt Neubauer on the theater, and I've conveyed to him the need to approach both the fire department as well as council with plans. I think it's I wouldn't say awkward isn't the right word, but I think it's hard to, if there's a request of the theater, I think it's important to have something in front of us that indicates what that property is going to be used for. And the talk is right now on that west, and I've talked to the fire department. They don't have any immediate issues with it, but they do want to see what the plans are. And moving forward, I think they need to understand that there's some sensitivities to both height and width and how that property is used that they're going to have to hear from the town, or at least consider from the town. So I've asked them to put together a site plan, some type of projection. Obviously not wedded to it, but at least gives us some type of idea what the project's going to look like. Kurt seemed amicable to that, and I haven't heard back from him, but I expect that to come in. Great meeting with Bob and Chris from VS Engineering. Always appreciate his mindset, but we're talking about the park on a larger scale, and immediately there are smaller things, minor projects that we can do moving forward. I've been working with some ADA stuff and Crystal, and I think she'll have a request for redevelopment to provide more accessibility to the beach. Some simple things that we can do in the immediate, right, to show that we are sincere and we do want to provide that access. But I think we're missing an opportunity, especially with the Lilly grant. Had some good conversations with Matt Selmer. I think there's something larger that we can start to incubate with Lakeshore in the park. I think it does require a period of planning, but I think that period should start now, to be honest with you. I think that doing this at once as a single project, and I see it almost as a threefold project. The first one would be an infrastructure component that would include Lakeshore Drive and the realignment of Lakeshore Drive. We're starting to have parking and pedestrian issues in the summer. We also have infrastructure down below that street that needs to be ripped out and replaced. And Bob inspired me to think big. We have problems with the parking lot currently as it exists in the park. We also have parking issues that could include, but we want to be honoring green space, but at the same time, how can we realign the green space to be more consolidated to create a more comprehensive park that's not divided by parking, especially around the depot area? That's something I want to think about. That's one part of the project. The second is programming, an opportunity to create an arts and culture neighborhood there. I like the term neighborhood. I was inspired by it rather than district, but how are we going to enhance that area to become a unified theme, both from a shop or a commerce standpoint, but also as a way of providing public access? That park represents the last beacon of public access that we have on Lake Maxinkuckee. How can we enhance it and bring better access to our greater community on a whole? I think there are a lot of opportunities, but I think it requires thought and planning because it requires money. And that is something that is going to have to come from both public and private. So putting something together package-wise to present for funding is important. And doing it thoughtfully, I think, is going to require somebody expertise outside of our own local community. The third component of it is one that I would consider to be historical and preservation. There are some wonderful buildings down there, such as the depot, as well as the World Fair streetlights that need to be restored. The electricity down below the park and providing that wouldn't be probably in that historical component or that preservation component, but putting that together and being sensitive to the building structures, preserving them in their original intact form, as well as the beach lodge. There's some minor work that needs to be done there. My thought is that we could do these as individual projects over time, or we can package this under one roof, coordinate it, and be thoughtful. I'm not suggesting this is next year or 2 years, but start thinking about a 3-year or 5-year plan towards this. So we can start getting the plans together, start fundraising, and do it at once. It's going to be a disruption, and timing is going to be important on this. But if we're going to do a street and we're going to do the park, I suggest that we do a comprehensive plan. And the thought is the unified target is to create an arts culture neighborhood. I think with the Lilly money coming forward, and I think with our maybe re-understanding of what town commerce is as a visitor tourist, but also providing our local community with access is important.
Also probably talking north, as we've talked about with the motel coming in to talk to us.
Yep.
And there's a lot of people wanting to talk to us about that corridor. If you think about the stakeholders there, you get the movie theater undergoing a project, us undergoing projects, park wanting to do some things.
I want, yeah,
I
exactly.
think it's a good idea to look at it as more of a, let's plan this corridor space.
I do. And I think right now this is kind of fun because it's in the visionary, but there's money and there's thought. But I think to be efficient, to define the right targets, use the best resources and harness the private and public sector monies that can be available for this, I think it's going to require consulting. I think and I say that right now, I think there's going to be grant opportunities for that to maybe offset that expense or pay for that expense to bring in somebody professional putting it together. And we mentioned Lily tonight, and I think I have a meeting tomorrow with Matthew Selmer again. I hopefully will get with him, and he does this thing in Plymouth, and I want his expertise and knowledge towards this because he's very good at what he does, and this is something he does, and so I want his guidance. But I just wanted to update council. I'm sorry I've taken a lot of time tonight, but I can't help it. I get excited when I think about that stuff and how it. Yes, absolutely. I've been and a side benefit of OneMarshall is to be able to get some FaceTime with people. Maybe a benefit, may not be. Ask. If you didn't notice, the awning's missing. We'll get it back. We've got it coming. That's been a labor of love. Yeah, just a little.
I thought it looked nice without it.
Well,
Yeah.
be quiet, Joe. Sorry. We're getting on it. Banners are on Bob's site. Those Main Street banners that we've got. Brackets, we're going to try to make that April deadline, we promise. He also mentioned painting the streets. Hasn't forgotten about it. Leaves are being sucked up finally out of the storm. And I talked to Jerry today and says that we're going to take a look at those storm drains, make sure we're empty before we start getting the rain. They're on it, is what I'm saying. And they've got a schedule to get some maintenance stuff done and come out of hibernation from the winter. They didn't get much. They had to plow a lot. Yeah, they had to plow a lot tonight. So if Bob's listening, I'm only joking about the hibernation. That's it for me tonight. Thanks for your indulgence. Appreciate you letting me go on a little bit.
Sign your report.
I don't have any claims over 2,500 that need your approval, but I just want to call your attention to a couple that were approved previously and funds were encumbered for them. Fire Service Incorporated firefighting supplies for $5,936. Those were, I believe, nozzles and hoses that the fire department purchased. Culver Equities, the Dunes Construction, $31,815.57, which I think empties out the construction fund for the dunes. So we're getting closer on finishing that. And then the Auto Park, $38,312 for the squad car, which Chad took delivery of and is going to, I think it's on the schedule to get outfitted and torn apart inside and then put back together. So there's that. I just wanted to let you know. The annual financial report is not done yet, but it will be it will be done and submitted by February 28th. And I will be attending the ILMCT Institute and Academy in Plainfield, March 8th through 12th, and it can't come soon enough. And that's all I have.
All right, thank
Good luck
you.
with
It's almost done. It's just been a lot in the 2 months. So
Council issues, Miss Munroe. Neer,
And nothing.
Ricciardi,
Same here.
same there. Mr. Day,
Nothing here.
chair has nothing. Make a motion or hear a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
That's been moved by Mr. Ricciardi,
So,
second by Mr. Roll. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
sorry I didn't bake. I know we could all use less sugar.